Paul Skenes versus Shohei Ohtani was must-watch baseball on Wednesday evening.
You are Locked On Pirates, your daily Pittsburgh Pirates podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Your team, your Pittsburgh Pirates every single day. Welcome back to the Locked On Pirates podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team, your Pittsburgh Pirates, every Monday through Friday here on the Locked On Podcast Network. My name is Ethan Smith. Follow me on Twitter at MVP_Ethan or at Locked On Pirates for all of your news, analysis, opinions, and reactions to everything going on in the world of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. If you want to go see Paul Skenes pitch, make sure you buy your tickets over at Game Time and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. And hopefully, if you're listening to this show on YouTube or your audio platforms, because it's free and available to you every Monday through Friday, hopefully you watched what was must-watch baseball and must-watch television yesterday between the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Los Angeles Dodgers, because we got probably what I would call the best matchup between two players that we'll probably see in Pittsburgh this season. Paul Skenes made his fifth start of his major league career, and he has had a phenomenal start to his major league career. We all know that. We know how these things have gone so far for Paul Skenes, the generational product for the Pittsburgh Pirates that has really given this franchise a new feel. It's given this franchise kind of a little bit of hope. And we like that here in Pittsburgh because we're predicated on hope and predicated that they can get back to the postseason. Paul Skenes is the poster boy for that. And he faced baseball's poster boy in Shohei Ohtani. And what a matchup it was between Shohei Ohtani and Paul Skenes. Paul Skenes, of course, before we get to just the specifics against Shohei Ohtani, Skenes had his second shortest outing of his career so far, 5 innings pitched, allowed 6 hits and 3 earned runs, had 8 strikeouts on the evening, 2 home runs allowed. But once again, the Pirates offense gave him a lot of run support. We're going to talk about that in the show later. And what's even crazier, and I'm just going to hit on this right now before we move on with the Skenes Ohtani talk, is you could argue that Paul Skenes didn't even have the best stuff on the night last night, as Aroldis Chapman, who did allow an earned run in the 7th inning. Folks, he was hitting 104 on the gun. He's hitting 103 on the gun and doing it pretty damn consistently as well. He was hitting stuff that at 36 years of age, you just shouldn't be able to do. And what a moment it was to see that, and what a moment it was to see Paul Skenes face Shohei Ohtani. I mean, if you were watching it on TV or if you were there, please share under the comments how it felt in that building, because that first at-bat that Paul Skenes faced Shohei Ohtani in the top of the first inning, second hitter he faces after striking out Mookie Betts. I mean, I was looking around more at the fans when that at-bat was starting, and I saw phones everywhere. I saw everything. It looked like that place was standing up for a playoff game, seeing Shohei Ohtani face off with Paul Skenes. Skenes got the better of him in the first at-bat. We saw that, and it was magical to watch. Magical to watch. He threw this gas against Shohei Ohtani, who is regarded, and very much so should be regarded, as the best baseball player on the planet. And Shohei Ohtani looked silly in that first at-bat against Paul Skenes, and Paul Skenes has done that to a lot of different guys. He's done it to the Cody Bellingers of the world. He's done it to the Jorge Solers of the world. He's done it to everybody, and that's just how good he is. Now, in the second at-bat, which as a Pirates fan, it shouldn't have felt, excuse me, it shouldn't have felt good to see what the outcome of that second at-bat was. But folks, that was an absolute battle between arguably the best player on the planet and the best pitching prospect that we've seen in over a decade. 3-2 count, and Ohtani, after looking silly in the first at-bat against Paul Skenes, takes him deep. And I'm not talking just Clemente wall or just getting over the left field wall in PNC Park. He took him dead red center. And it just only got better after that. I mean, Ohtani did get the better of Skenes here. He had another hit on him in their third at-bat. This is great for baseball. Absolutely phenomenal for the sport of baseball and the league of Major League Baseball. You could not write a better script about these two players facing off against each other. Paul Skenes, a California kid who grew up going to Angels games, grew up going to Dodger games. And yes, I know it's weird to say grew up, but he idolized Shohei Ohtani in high school. He idolized Shohei Ohtani throughout his time at Air Force and at LSU. And when you come to think of it, of course he idolized the guy because he used to hit and pitch at Air Force. So he was the prototypical guy that Paul Skenes thought he might turn into. Now, obviously, Skenes gives up on hitting after leaving Air Force. And, of course, pitches and looks like an absolute animal at LSU, winning a College World Series. And Michael McHenry, by the way, mentioned this on the pregame show and mentions it quite a bit when Skenes is pitching. And I want people to remember this. Paul Skenes at this time last year, I'm talking about a calendar year ago in June 2023, was pitching in the College World Series. This is a kid that was in college a year ago. And he comes in to this game against the Dodgers having had a phenomenal start to his career with a 3 ERA coming out of it, and faces three of the best players in baseball in Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, and Freddie Freeman. He strikes out Mookie Betts. He strikes out Shohei Ohtani. And then he gets Freddie Freeman out, and that's how he kicks off his evening. And folks, you cannot write it better to see the best player on the planet in Shohei Ohtani face a guy like Paul Skenes. And what makes it even better, and yes, I'm banging on the desk saying this, what makes it even better for baseball is that Paul Skenes is playing on a team in the Pittsburgh Pirates that has not seen the postseason in 9 years. A team that over the past half decade and almost a decade has been regarded as a garbage team. A team that has had no direction. A team that has been just struggling to find pitching talent. A team that has had pitching talent leave via trades like Joe Musgrove, Jameson Taillon, and Garrett Cole. We've seen those guys get shipped out in the past to the big market teams like Houston, New York, San Diego. Yeah, whatever. But San Diego spent a lot more money in the last half decade. Now you were able last night to see Shohei Ohtani play in arguably the biggest market in baseball in LA for arguably the most marketable team in baseball in the Dodgers. Obviously, the Yankees are up there too. Face off against a generational pitching talent in Paul Skenes, who's pitching for the Pittsburgh Pirates. When was the last time, folks, that we had a matchup between two players of that caliber as Pittsburgh Pirates fans? I'd love to hear thoughts on that because it's had to be a while. It's had to be a good bit. And what makes this just so great, too, is not only is this news on Locked On Pirates. We're not going to be the only ones talking about it. The guys who Locked On Dodgers will talk about it. Major League Baseball is talking about it. Everybody on the planet that watches the game of baseball knows Shohei Ohtani, and they know Paul Skenes who pitches in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Western PA at PNC Park. That is phenomenal for baseball. Absolutely great. And then you add in what Cleveland is doing right now, looking like one of the best teams in baseball. You look at the Baltimore Orioles, who, much like the Pirates, have had their massive amount of struggles over the last decade. Now they're one of the best teams in baseball. The Pittsburgh Pirates now have not one, but two of the best young pitchers in the game right now. And then you add in that you have the David versus Goliath kind of feel to it with Shohei Ohtani playing for the LA Dodgers, facing the best pitching prospect ever, arguably, in Paul Skenes for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Baseball could not market it any better. And we talk all the time about how much better baseball could be at marketing their young players and how much baseball needs to lean into guys like Paul Skenes, like Jackson Holliday, like Gunnar Henderson, like Jared Jones. Because a lot of times the focus is on Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Acuna, Tatis, all the very good players, Mike Trout when he's healthy. The Pirates have a spotlight on the franchise every 5 days. Every 5 days when Paul Skenes pitches, the spotlight goes to the Pittsburgh Pirates for an hour and a half, depending on how long his start is. And that is a phenomenal thing. And to have him go out, especially in that first at-bat, and strike out Shohei Ohtani swinging on 3 straight fastballs. Folks, that was talked about on Twitter for over half an hour yesterday, not only by Dodger fans, not only by Pirates fans, but fans of Major League Baseball. There's going to be kids that are Pirates fans right now, folks, that are going to grow up with Paul Skenes and his career. They are going to tell their future kids about how they watched Paul Skenes. Much like a lot of us are going to tell our future kids or our kids now about Shohei Ohtani. Paul Skenes is going to end up growing a new generation of baseball fans, not only in Pittsburgh, but overall in all of baseball. And it is a great thing that he is doing it in a Pittsburgh Pirates uniform. Will he do it in a Pirates uniform for his entire career? It is entirely too early to talk about that. It is. And I know for a lot of Yins, it's hard to think that he'll be here for his entire career. Well, newsflash, he's a free agent until 2031 with the way the MLB contract structures work. So he's going to be here for quite a while. And he'll have plenty of other chances, I'm sure, to face Shohei Ohtani and the best in baseball and continue to show why he was a generational pitching prospect. And it is great for the game of baseball. And I cannot add that anymore. It is just one of the best things that could happen for the Pirates and one of the best things that could happen for the game of baseball for Paul Skenes to go out and do what he did against Shohei Ohtani yesterday, albeit giving up 2 hits in the 3 at-bats. Absolute battles between those two in those 3 at-bats. And we'll see it again, I think. I know the Pirates play the Dodgers again this year, and I hope we get to see it again. What happened again, though, last night was the Pirates offense giving Paul Skenes a lot of run support again. And it begs the question of how can this offense become more consistent, and are the pieces there for it to become more consistent? We'll discuss that shortly here on the Locked On Pirates podcast. Today's episode of Locked On Pirates is brought to you by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today because, folks, it's never been easier to bet on the sport of baseball. It's never been easier to bet on the NBA Finals. It's never been easier to bet on anything than when you're on Prize Picks, because all you have to do is just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Because with Prize Picks, you could turn $10. $10. I mean, $10. What are you doing with $10? You could go buy a t-shirt at Walmart. You could go buy a Happy Meal at McDonald's. You could go get one or two grocery items, or you could turn it into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer, because you can make a Prize Picks lineup in as little as 60 seconds, and you just need to pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you're locked in. And if you're looking for promotions, Prize Picks has got you covered every week. From lowering select player stat projections on Tuesdays, which increases your chance of getting a win, to getting your free entries back if you're having a losing lineup on Fridays. Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members, and you can get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. And you can win up to 100 times your money now with baseball-only lineups on Prize Picks. If you submit a winning lineup featuring 4 demon squares, you'll cash in big time on the biggest moments on baseball's early season. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100, because all you have to do is pick more, pick less. It's that easy with Prize Picks. And welcome back to the Locked On Pirates podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team, your Pittsburgh Pirates, every day. Again, follow me on Twitter at MVP_Ethan or at Locked On Pirates. I'm always sharing my thoughts, analysis, opinions, and reactions to everything going on in the world of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And the Pirates improved to 29-32 yesterday. They are a game out of the wild card right now, as many other teams are. But they're staying right where they need to be. They're staying in contention right now in June. Obviously, still a ton of season left with the rest of June, July, August, and September before they eventually think about being a contending team. But right now is just as important as moving forward past the trade deadline, because where the Pirates are around July is going to determine a lot of who won this game. Now let's continue to move forward. A big reason why they won this game was the offense unloading on James Paxton, who I talked about it on the show yesterday and said that the Pirates have absolutely destroyed left-handed pitching this year for the most part. And they did it again. They had 7 runs in the second inning. And I mean, what an inning it was. You get an Olivares walk, you get a Ke'Bryan Hayes single, you get a Nick Gonzales double, you get a Yasmani Grandal single, a Jared Triolo single, a Jack Sawinski sac bunt, an Andrew McCutchen walk, a Brian Reynolds single, a Edward Olivares single, and a pass ball that eventually scores the run. But here's the biggest thing that I saw yesterday from this offense was, one, Nick Gonzales, folks, has been an absolute revelation for this team this year. He goes 2 for 3 yesterday on the evening, 4 RBIs, which now allows him to lead the National League in runs batted in since he was called up on May 10th. That is awesome. And we're seeing the Nick Gonzales that I spoke to on this show 3 years ago, and we saw play at New Mexico State as he was drafted, and we saw through the minor leagues that was just tearing the cover off the ball. And that's why they drafted him. They saw a kid that could hit the baseball well and could put it at all parts of the field and even showcase some power. And now he's hitting .310 with an .855 OPS. The guy is absolutely nuts and has been a phenomenal addition in the middle of the order. It wasn't just him last night, though. Edward Olivares had a 2 for 2 afternoon, scoring 3 runs. Ke'Bryan Hayes, who dominates left-handed pitching, was 2 for 3, adding an RBI. Yasmani Grandal added an RBI. Jared Triolo was 1 for 4 on the evening. There was a lot to like. And what I thought that I liked the most out of what I saw yesterday from this offense, 7 strikeouts, 5 walks. You'll take that all the time. If you can find a way to get on base 5 times for free, you take that all the time. The biggest question now, because we've obviously seen this Pirates offense give Paul Skenes an insane amount of run support. Every time he starts, they give an immense amount of run support, which is great. But they have to remain consistent. Let's not forget They won that game Tuesday 1-0 because of one swing from Jack Sawinski. The last 2 days, this team showcased their multiple ways of winning baseball games. They could score a ton of runs every once in a while, but they could also outpitch you. They did both yesterday. They did give up 11 hits to the Dodgers. The Dodgers did score 4 runs in each, or 1 run in the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th inning. But the offense did enough. And what I find interesting is with a righty tonight, and we'll talk about this in the final part of the show, I say this all the time. You had Kutch, Reynolds, Joe, Olivares, Hayes, Gonzales, Grandal, Triolo, Sawinski yesterday. Throw it out there again. Why not? Maybe the only substitution I would make would be Henry Davis for Grandal. Throw it out there again and just see what happens. Maybe you win tonight. Maybe you score a lot of runs again and you sweep the Dodgers. Maybe you just do that with this lineup and maybe you let it ride for a week. Maybe it just ends up working for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Maybe it's something that you say, okay, let's make it roll. Let's allow it to just happen. Let's make sure that it happens. And that's all you have to do. It's just let a lineup go out there and see what it can do for a week. Now, obviously, I know guys need rest and you want to make sure health is okay and stuff like that. But if you can continue to get production on days where Paul Skenes pitches, maybe try that lineup again today against Walker Buehler. And it's not hard. Just copy and paste the lineup card from last night and just throw it out there again. It's not that difficult. Just do it. It doesn't hurt. If you lose the game, oh well, then make changes. But don't make changes for the sake of making changes to the lineup. But what I also saw, and it begs the question, is how this offense can stay consistent, and are the pieces there? The pieces are there. I would like them to eventually add a bat at some point, but they have pieces there for this offense to be consistent. And if they could just continue to use their strengths as strengths, then they'll be fine. You have a team that's not loaded with power, but on nights like this, you didn't really need it. And use it to your advantage. Put the ball in play, because we know the old adage, if you put the ball in play, good things happen. That's what happened last night. I mean, folks, they did it on a ton of singles, and the only extra base hit they had on their 9 hits was a Gonzales double, and they put up 10 runs. They were 6 for 11 with runners in scoring position. That's what you want. Now, you obviously want power to come into that too, but if you're not going to get it, that is the exact prototype you want from an offense that is not a plus power offense. 8 singles results in 10 runs. Take that and you run with it. And we'll see what this offense could do against Walker Buehler tonight, as the Pirates will aim for a sweep with Bailey Falter on the mound. But we're going to discuss what a sweep would mean of the LA Dodgers if they can find a way to get it tonight shortly here on the Locked On Pirates podcast. Today's episode of Locked On Pirates is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms do apply, because Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. And with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. I'm going to the game this Saturday. It's a free t-shirt Saturday. I have to be there against the Minnesota Twins. And if you're thinking about going, use Game Time, because if if you think you might have something going on Saturday, or you don't know how you're going to feel going into Saturday, and let's say it's 2:00 in the afternoon with the game starting at 4 a.m. or 4 p.m. Well, folks, you can save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports. And you can save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or event this Saturday. And you can even save more when you choose a section at PNC Park and let Game Time choose the seats. And your purchase is always covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off, and download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. And welcome back to the Locked On Pirates podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team, your Pittsburgh Pirates every day. And your Pittsburgh Pirates will be looking for a sweep of the Los Angeles Dodgers at PNC Park tonight at 6:40 Eastern time. Again, use Game Time. We're going to plug Game Time again. If you want to go to the game tonight, just use Game Time. You'll save a lot of money, and you can save even more with using the code LOCKEDONMLB. It will be Walker Buehler versus Bailey Falter. Both of these pitchers, interesting matchup for these teams. Walker Buehler being a righty. We know the Pirates struggle with righties a good bit, but Buehler has had an interesting start to his campaign this year. You know, he started injured. He has only 24 strikeouts on the year, and but that's in 25 innings. So he's looked pretty good in that department. A 4.32 ERA over his 5 starts, a 1.32 whip. We look back to his last couple starts. He's given up 3 earned in his last couple starts, both of those nearly being quality starts. The last one against Colorado he had 7 strikeouts and 4 walks, 6 hits and 3 earned runs over 6 innings. The one prior to that was against the Cincinnati Reds, 5 2/3, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 4 strikeouts. And then he started against Cincinnati to start before that as well. And this is the Walker Buehler that I'm more familiar with. 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs, and 7 strikeouts. So the Pirates could be in for one with Walker Buehler, who's a guy, a career 3.07 ERA, 714 strikeouts in 120 games. Yeah, he's very good. And it's going to be an interesting matchup and a tough task too, because the Dodgers are one of the best teams in baseball hitting left-handed pitching, and it will be Bailey Falter on the mound for the Pittsburgh Pirates tonight. Falter has been the surprise this year, 11 games, 3-2 record, 3.22 ERA, 64 in the 3rd innings pitched, 38 strikeouts. The whip still under 1 at 0.95. But again, it's a Dodgers lineup that does very good against lefties. I would watch Mookie Betts in this game. He hasn't had the greatest series leading up to this point, but I would watch Mookie Betts and what he can offer to the Dodgers in this one against a left-handed starter. Ohtani and Freddie Freeman don't struggle all that much against lefties either, but I think, and it was mentioned to me in the comments quite a bit, that for the Dodgers in this game specifically against Falter, you're going to get production from those 3 guys, I think, and Betts, Ohtani, and Freeman. It's going to be about the rest of the lineup for the Dodgers and how they perform. The Dodgers do actually have some experience against Bailey Falter, not a ton. Miguel Rojas has 7 at-bats against him with a 286 average. Jason Hayward, who had a great game last night, has only seen him once and hit him once. Hernandez has seen him 3 times, has a home run and 2 RBIs, but that's it. A lot of these guys haven't really seen him all that much. Meanwhile, for the Pirates against Walker Buehler, Ke'Bryan Hayes has a 500 batting average against Walker Buehler in 6 at-bats. Connor Joe has only seen him once and hit him once. Kutch has seen him twice and hit him once. Brian Reynolds has seen him 9 times and has a 778 OPS with a home run. Rowdy Tellez has seen him a decent amount of times. I don't know if Rowdy's going to really be in this game or not. And Sawinski in 3 at-bats has a 666 OPS. So it's going to be an interesting one. But a sweep here would mean a lot, because I've been kind of saying it on the show and kind of alluding to it a little bit over the past week or so, that this Pirates team feels like they're a winning streak away from being in that contention spot. And this would be a great start to getting to that point. Is if they can find a way to sweep the Dodgers, start a 3-game winning streak, and you have a home series against a Minnesota Twins team that is a good team. They're 33-28 in what has been a surprising AL Central so far. That's a good team too. But if you could find a way to keep stringing wins together like they have in this Dodger series, win tonight and get a sweep and have a 3-game winning streak going and maybe turn that into 4 or 5 or 6, then folks, that would be nice. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it would mean a lot, especially when you look at what the Pirates are going to be dealing with for the remainder of this month. They meet the St. Louis Cardinals for the first time next week. They have the Colorado Rockies on the road. Then they come back home to play Cincinnati and Tampa Bay, and then they play Cincinnati again. So yet another important NL Central stretch is coming up. Would be great to go into it with a win streak. Folks, the Pirates and the Dodgers will have first pitch tonight at 6:40 Eastern time at PNC Park. Remember, use Game Time to get your tickets. Go on Prize Picks to win some money. And always remember to tune into this show every single Monday through Friday here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team, your Pittsburgh Pirates, every single day. My name is Ethan Smith. You can follow me on Twitter at MVP_Ethan or at Locked On Pirates. You can find this show on YouTube and all of your audio platforms. Hit the notification bell so you know when it comes out. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday. We'll see you guys tomorrow to preview the Minnesota Twins series and talk everything about this Dodgers series and more. But until then, we'll see you on the flip side.